The Bad Batch Season 3 is out on Disney Plus, the final season of the Star Wars animated show that spun off from the Clone Wars. 15 episodes, around half hour each, with the exception of the finale, which is twice as long, so effectively 16 episodes. Story picks up where we left off last time. Omega, imprisoned on Tantis, aiding with the shady cloning experiments of Dr. Hemlock. She quickly realizes that Crosshair is also locked in the facility and begins to plan their escape. Meanwhile, the rest of the Bad Batch is desperately trying to find leads on the whereabouts of Tantis in order to mount a rescue mission from the outside. So, realistically, nobody who hasn't watched the previous two seasons is going to check out the third one. And if you've already seen not one but two seasons of this show, there's a solid chance you enjoyed them and you're a big fan of Star Wars. And if that is true, you'll probably like the conclusion as well, because it's basically more of the same. There are moments of brilliance, there are moments that feel like filler, but all in all, it's solid Star Wars content, anchored by very strong character work that really comes to shine as the arcs are finalized this season. I loved the Omega and the way that Omega and Hunter conclude their arcs. I thought Nala Se had an interesting end to her story. But the standout is definitely Crosshair, who, when all is said and done, ends up having one of the most interesting arcs in all of Star Wars. The writing for him this season is exceptionally strong, and I love the way that character was developed. I also thought the finale went against my expectations in many ways in a positive sense, but I will also say that Hemlock's storyline in particular and the whole cloning experiments thing, which seemed to be an incredibly important piece, building up potentially to explaining away Palpatine's return in the god-awful Rise of Skywalker, it ended up going kind of nowhere, and in the end felt like a very elaborate construct that only ended up serving as motivation for the clones, for the Bad Batch, and not really having any other lasting consequences for the universe as a whole. But yeah, aside from that, I thought it was a good concluding season. I'm happy they didn't draw out the story, the show, for too long. It ends in a good place. It ends in a good way. I think it could have been bolder or more adventurous, but I'm satisfied with what we got. Decent show.